Holy cow, the world is moving fast. It's always been burning and turning. Isn't that what it is? We're on it tonight.
The Dan York State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
You know, it's so funny. We don't work with a script here, right? And random thoughts come into my head, but it's funny. I was scrolling down, I don't know, a YouTube feed, Billy Joel. I got new headsets. I was listening to some music, and there was a video of, you know, we didn't start the fire. And it's funny because he wrote that 2 decades ago, and you know, the bang, 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 bang of the issues and the one-liners and the references and the stories. He could write epilogue after epilogue after epilogue, and it does teach you something, though, about that snapshot in time that he had. It may give you some peace. It also may give you some panic that the world keeps burning, keeps turning, and never stops. We're not going to deal with a lot of local issues today, although at the end, if you don't like surveillance cameras, stay tuned, because our guest certainly doesn't. Professor Marc Genest from the Naval War College is here. He is always here speaking his own mind, fresh from a trip to Italy. And oh, we just jumped at you real quick. But before we jump to the and reintroduce Marc, let me just put this headline up, which indicates a new conversation. Now, of course, we record these shows on Thursday. You're seeing the show on Friday and on Sunday. But just before taping, Brittany Griner got 9 years from the Russian judge. And we're not talking Olympics here. Expected, right? You're not a legal scholar, but you certainly are an international security guy. Welcome. We reintroduce you. It's always great to have you. This was not on my plan today because there's a bunch of other stuff, including Nancy Pelosi's visits, taking out Zawahiri, and then I got a local issue for you. But what's your take on this?
Very expected, and Putin is trying to put as much pressure on the United States as possible, and he has 2 captives, and he's going to try to trade that for people who, an arms dealer, or even other individuals, so that he can force the administration into doing a traditional Cold War swap, and I think that's what's going to eventually happen.
Okay, so the nature of the judiciary in Russia making its own third branch of government-ish like here decision about the criminal case and the minuscule amount of narcotic that she had in her vape is not an independent, legitimate thing. Correct?
Correct.
Judge is on the horn checking with the big boss, making sure that this comes down the way he wanted to.
Yeah, Putin decides the case. No one else.
Period.
Yes.
So all of the hoops that they ran through, jumped through, all the machinations of testimony about what she had, her impact on the Russian basketball community, her intent, all of it was correct?
Well, all of it was actually speaking to an international audience, because that did get out of Russia. So she did make the case that this was a sham trial. So, I mean, obviously the Russians aren't going to agree, but the rest of the world should see it for what it is.
So she and Paul Whelan, who's there on an espionage charge, I'm guessing falsely as well, are the 2 top candidates for barter here. I thought Brittany did a great job of staying incredibly stoic during the reading from the judge. I'm sure somehow she got some advice that should be what she does. She should not have anticipated anything else. There was no surprise on her face. So we all knew this is going to come down to back channel conversations, correct?
And don't expect the resolution quickly. Putin wants to make this last as long as he can.
What's reasonable in the international context of chess here? She's already had 5 months.
Right. I don't think I would use the term reasonable when we're talking about Putin. Putin is going to allow this exchange when it is in his interest to try to get as much out of the administration, the Biden administration, as possible. So when he feels he has got the upper hand and he's ready to squeeze the administration as much as possible, he will do so, but not before.
So, tit for tat, it seems to me that America's got a funky place here. Prisoner exchange, personnel, our justice system, and even maybe our intelligence system, punitive results, people we have because of that. For this, yes. Ukrainian military strategy, no. Not on the table?
One would think that Putin wants it to be on the table, but I don't think the administration will allow that. And again, you know,
so whether, other than loading up free agency, right? Like, in other words, adding draft choices back and forth.
Right.
What's the big win for him? If he gets 5 for R2, whatever.
Well,
we're not gonna disembark or change our support militarily for Ukraine in any way, shape, or form, right?
It's all about the public relations aspect internally for Putin. The Russian economy is not doing well, despite the high price of gas and oil. And the war is certainly not going well. After 6 months, it still is a stalemate. So any marginal incremental dividend that he can get out of this, he will. And that's why he's going to wait for the right time and the right moment and to see what he can get the administration to concede before he does anything.
And will that end up being a publicly noted concession? Who knows?
Already the administration has moved into accepting, this is the arms dealer, the Russian arms dealer that's in the United States prison now, is a notoriously bad guy. And we're already conceding that we'll exchange him for the 2 Americans. Now, how much more Putin can get depends on how much pressure the Biden administration will be to get both Whelan and Brittany out.
But he doesn't need, we don't need, the world doesn't need, the free world doesn't need President Zelensky having a fit over the idea that something was pulled back in terms of military and strategic support in the battle, the big battle going on between the 2 countries for 2 American prisoners.
No, and I don't think the administration will do that.
Okay. All right, good enough. You know, why don't we pause here so we can get back and we reset some of the other things that are happening. Big time stuff. Nancy Pelosi goes to Taiwan. A lot of turbulence. Stay with us. This is a big amount of stress for China, but the White House too. I'll tell you this. Here was the latest a couple of days ago.
Taiwan welcomed House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to the self-ruled island democracy that China claims as its own. Defying threats from China, she is now the highest-ranking American official to visit Taiwan in a quarter of a century. While receiving an honor from Taiwan's president, Pelosi highlighted the decades-long U.S. commitment to Taiwan.
43 years ago, with the Taiwan Relations Act, America made a bedrock promise to always stand with Taiwan.
The California Democrat also spoke of China's strident opposition to her visit.
They will not stand in the way of people coming to Taiwan. It's a show of friendship, of support.
China considers visits by foreign officials as a sign of recognition of Taiwan's sovereignty, which China challenges. Across the narrow Taiwan Strait, China responded, announcing new military drills ringing Taiwan, and it warned that the U.S. would pay the price for undermining China's interests.
We don't want to see this spiral into any kind of a crisis or conflict. Again, we would say there's no reason to.
For Pelosi, making waves with China is nothing new. In 1991, she unfurled a pro-democracy banner in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. Today, Pelosi left Taiwan to continue her Asia trip in South Korea and Japan.
You know, on some levels, I have so much admiration for her. Now in her 80s, tough as nails. At the same time, if I'm Joe Biden, I'm like, Nancy, really? Really? I got COVID. I don't need this headache, right?
This was ego over wisdom on the speaker's part. I think it was a very imprudent thing to do. It was unnecessary, particularly as the Speaker of the House, a Democrat, when the Democratic president tries to get you not to do this, when the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says this is not a wise decision, and yet she goes anyway. What does that say about Pelosi and her fealty to the Biden administration and placing her own position above that of the foreign policy structure of the United States?
What was the urgency?
There was none. It was oftentimes the legislative branch and the executive branch get into these, tug of wars over, I am an independent branch, therefore the president doesn't have any sway over me. And technically that's true. But the problem here is in foreign policy, you're supposed to speak with one voice. And here, the Pelosi administration, or the Pelosi Speaker Pelosi,
Boy, was
literally,
that a Freudian slip, huh?
Yeah,
Right?
and she acted like that. She acted like the chief of chief.
If you just take a snapshot of her presentation behind the podium and the like, she was presidential.
Yes, she was.
She was impressive.
And she undercut her own president. And that's never a wise idea. And now look at what's happening. The Chinese are being incredibly aggressive. They've just shot off a series of missiles along the coast of Taiwan. They are holding now direct drills, war drills, around the coast within 10 miles of the island of Taiwan. These are extraordinarily aggressive maneuvers that can ultimately lead to some kind of an accident between either the Taiwanese or other navies. The Japanese are very concerned with this. So when Speaker Pelosi goes on her trip to the Far East, she actually causes a lot of instability, which is the worst thing that the Speaker could possibly do.
So a military exercise is a military exercise. We're mad and we're going to stomp our feet and we're going to blow up missiles in 10-mile radius around, or 10-mile distance around the island of Taiwan and blah, 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 blah. If we know it's just stammering, if we know it's just pounding our feet, what's the big deal?
Because rhetoric oftentimes entraps leaders. And actually, Xi Jinping is getting backlash from hardliners in China saying, you put all this tough rhetoric out and yet you've done nothing. So he's getting pressure, ironically enough, from segments of the Chinese society to say, hey, look, you're supposed to be a superpower now, act like it. If you make a threat,
all right, well,
follow
listen,
through.
You have such incredible experience in China. You've been in China on multiple occasions. A lot of your work has been through China. What is that frictional dynamic inside China like? I mean, in an authoritarian, totalitarian type of dynamic, how much dissent is real and something he has to politically deal with?
That's an interesting question. Xi Jinping, since he's come to power, and now he's coming up for his third term, because he's eliminated term limits, has used nationalism to feed the Chinese public. So he has built this kind of bubbling, boiling anger about the exploitation of China for the last century or so, and that this is now the 21st century, China's century. It's time for them to assert their power. So he's created this kind of ultra-patriotic nationalist fervor in China. And since he's created it, he's got to play to it. And right now, it may put more pressure on him to act even more aggressively. There's even talk now of a potential blockade around around Taiwan. Because if you looked at, the early map showed that they literally have surrounded with naval assets around Taiwan. It is very possible and very easy for them to put an unofficial blockade around the island of Taiwan. And that would cause all kinds of problems. Then the administration, the Biden administration, would have to decide what do we do, as well as the neighboring countries in Taiwan.
Remind everybody what China's gripe is with Taiwan.
Okay. Back during the Chinese Civil War, the forces of Chiang Kai-shek fought Mao Zedong, the communist. And Chiang Kai-shek lost that battle and fled to the island of Formosa that we now know as Taiwan. And he created a very prosperous and ultimately stable and democratic state. it became more democratic once Chiang Kai-shek left the arena. But now it has always been a dynamic country. It's an embarrassment to mainland China because its economy is so strong, and the microchip industry in Taiwan is the leader of the entire world. So it's very, very important for China to be able to try to dominate Taiwan, and Taiwan's importance to the global economy has grown exponentially because of their high-tech industries.
What's the Chinese endgame?
Well, Xi Jinping has officially said that the reuniting Taiwan in mainland China is the ultimate goal of the communist government in China. Now, he has said he prefers not to do so using military might, but he has not ruled it out. And his rhetoric gets more and more aggressive the larger the Chinese military becomes.
Rather than Russia and Ukraine, is this the hot spot of a potential world war problem?
It is, yes. It is the hot spot that the American Navy, the United States Navy, worries most about. We have now, since the end of the not the end, but since we pulled out of Afghanistan, we are now looking at great power competition, and the focus is on China. And Russia is a player, don't get me wrong, and Russia is a very dangerous country, but China is the rising superpower that will be our ultimate competitor and already is.
So poking that bear. By the way, Republicans thought it was great. So now we have our own internal politics, right? They're enjoying the consternation that the White House has and having to deal with this. She comes back here this week. Things calm down, or has this left a resonating sore that China still wants to create its own salve for?
This embarrassed China, and again, unnecessarily. Now, look, Taiwan is for all intents and purposes, a sovereign state. And Pelosi, on the principle that China cannot tell us where we can and cannot go. And that's absolutely correct. But in foreign policy and diplomacy, prudence is always the wisest course. Why create a potentially difficult and dangerous situation if you don't need to?
They got Zawahiri. They got him. You bullish on that?
Anytime you kill an evil man and a terrorist that was responsible for 9/11, it's a good day.
Impactful in the big picture?
Well, it's impactful in terms of it demonstrates that, and this is not a shock, that the Taliban lied, that they were always going to continue to cooperate with al-Qaeda. And from what sources say, Zawahiri's been in Afghanistan for several months at least, and that allowed us to surveil his house and develop the right time to hit him.
Right, so we showed up the Taliban, but we also got 2-decade-old retribution for 9/11.
Yeah, and that's an important thing. It's also an important symbol to say to the Taliban, look, we may be out, but if you continue to harbor terrorists, we'll just come in and kill them. All
right. There's another thing happening locally that Marc is a citizen, not as a professor or any of that. He's got a bug up his bung on, and guess what? I get it. We'll talk about it next. Stay with us.
Our policy is clear, and the direction from the top of this organization will be clear. It is only for criminal investigations.
Colonel Hugh Clements, who I have profound respect for, he's a cop's cop, and I think he's done an incredible job for the Providence Police Department. But no, they're down 100 from the top of their highest enrollment. And the more technology the police can get their hands on, don't even get me started on the speeding cameras at the school zones. I've been the victim of that penal system at 32 miles an hour average, please. But these are the cameras in Providence that are scheduled to be at intersections, grabbing license plates, and maybe some more detail on who's driving, all for criminal purposes. Ironically, you've already been after this. Cranston put them up and really didn't say anything. They only reported out. They just went ahead and did it. So that's its own interesting democratic dynamic there. Providence City Councilors have asked for a waiting period here as they review the situation. Right. And you, as a citizen of Warwick, resident of Warwick, have been, you were able to force the Warwick City Council to take a breath. You're really concerned about this, and your Chinese experience advises you a lot. You got the floor. Tell me.
I am so proud to be an American because of our fundamental respect for civil liberties. And what we are doing and because a private company, Flock, is using fear to drive this, is we are becoming a police state. And that is so antithetical to the founding fathers, what they wanted this country to look like and be like.
We're just looking for criminals.
Right. And
Calm down.
The problem is that this is what scares me the most. Xi Jinping has a saying that the Chinese government has put out, justifying their surveillance cameras. It says, if you do nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear. I have heard exactly those phrases from the representatives from Flock, from the police chiefs. This is the kind of mentality that we're getting into, where you're allowing Big Brother to surveil everyone. And then that information is going to a third party, and it's literally being stored on the cloud by Flock, a company that is primarily motivated, actually just motivated by profit. I'm a great capitalist, believe in capitalism. I do not believe sacrificing my civil liberties in the name of capitalism.
We might be able to get a bad guy that we couldn't have gotten.
Well, that's the problem. If you want absolute 1,000% security, then give up all of your civil liberties. That's the point. That's the balance that democracies have to make. We have to try to make as much, a safe and secure society, but we also have to maintain the individual liberties that we so pride ourselves on. So how are we going to do that? What we're finding now is the rhetoric of fear is overwhelming the idea that we need to protect our civil liberties.
We only have 45 seconds. The Chinese experience in promising if you don't do anything, don't worry about it, is that a lie?
Of course it is. And here's the two things that we're turning into. We're not only turning into a police state, we're turning into a predatory state, where this unending thirst for more funds coming into the government means that they're setting up cameras everywhere. And it's not just school zones, and they're doing it not for safety purposes predominantly. They're doing it to raise revenue.
The public is unwitting to this, Mark.
I know, and it's something that I'm really concerned with. Where Warwick has already put it off, and one of the reasons they put it off is because the police chief didn't even show up to the city committee.
We'll keep in touch with this on the radio side as well. Great visit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Final word, and we come back. You know, with a lot of this technology, we complain about it after we're impacted by it, but we don't really pay attention to the process by which the technology was installed. So I'm just suggesting that you may, in Warwick and in Providence and everywhere else it's coming, you may want to, I don't know, attend a council meeting or something like that. Think about it. Have a great night. See ya.